I said, hey yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy MoHodls, and we're back with another video. Hope you guys have had an amazing day. Today we're going to be talking about everything Bitcoin, what's going on with Bitcoin, what we can expect, and also taking a look at the current price action. So, jumping right into things, Bitcoin is chopping along the support here. And if you guys have been following along, you guys know that I've pretty much called the top in 2022. When he hit the 69K mark, but of course I was not accurate as far as the low is concerned here, and that again was cut, small loss. That's why your stop losses are important. And then as the thread continues, I was actually able to kind of pinpoint the bottom, which is posted over here. I make these monthly videos for you guys, and also for documentation purposes. Way back in December, I do these monthly updates, and this one was kind of late, right? I'm kind of uploading this halfway into the month in September, but it was due 15 days ago simply because of a family matter. But as you guys can see here, like, the bottom was called accurately on this channel back in December of the 31st. You guys can go take a look at that. And also I called again the range high the following month after. So the reason why I'm showing this is not to act like I know it all, but I'm trying to let you guys know that everything that is done here is simply done from a data driven type of techno analysis, right? Like, I don't just like to say X, Y, and Z. I try to paint a perfect picture. But again, even calling the range highs here, seeing the retrace, and then of course seeing another high hit. You guys also know that I'm calling now for this gray box to get hit, right? So I believe that the highest we go is around 46K. And of course, depending on how price action breaks up, depending on what the structure looks like on the way up, right? I will have to see whether or not, my bias may change on whether or not we'd hit an all-time high again. So I reserve that right for now. Of course, if price action slowly chops and grinds, like you see, like slow price action where it looks like, it's like a leading diagonal or ending diagonal, something like we've seen over here, and the price breaks down, then maybe I'm going to get bearish, right? But also if we see, complete ballistic price action continuing higher and higher, maybe then I will probably say it's possible to go even higher. But right now, as it stands, I made a video last month on why I believe an all-time high is not possible. But today I'm going to be talking a little more why it's possible that, we can hit an all-time high, but also what is needed to hit that all-time high, right? So again, the first thing that's clear before we get into that specific area is that right now price is trending above a support level. We didn't breach these lows here, which got very, very close, right? So technically speaking, we didn't hit that low there, which is very good. But again, if you were following me along on Twitter here, I pretty much made a thread August 28th before this Bitcoin pump took place, before everybody was calling for all these low targets. I was showing why hidden bullish divergence was being shown on the BTC chart. I was showing why stablecoin dominance continued to display a hidden bearish divergence, and it led me to believe that Bitcoin was going to run up. And I also saw hidden bullish divergence on the total chart. And then again, the kicker, Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin dominance breaks down, that will tell me that alts are going to take the lead against Bitcoin, right? So that's the number one factor, right? So like if Bitcoin runs up here and the dominance goes up significantly, then guess what? That's when I'll believe Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin will hit an all-time high, was when the dominance goes up with it. But if we see it move up here, we see Bitcoin run up to 45K and we don't see a push up in dominance the way that it's supposed to be, like we've seen in the previous cycles, right? And that would just have to lead me to believe that alts are going to take the lead, and that's going to probably lead to potentially Bitcoin not making an all-time high. Because again, when we look at Bitcoin, when we look at the price action that we've seen historically, right, and this is again most of the price action, but these red lines represent the halving. But Bitcoin sets a different bottom every time, right? And basically what you've seen is that every single bottom is different, right? You have like an accumulation here, you have your blow off top, perfect, and you have like a clear three waves there, which is nice. You do get a blow off top here as well, but this has a different type of bottom, right? Tricks everyone to 14K, comes back down to 3K. We've never seen that before, right? And then also leading into the 2021 cycle, you see a double top, which Bitcoin has never done. On top of that, we see price come back into previous all-time highs, which Bitcoin has never done. So the behavior, the psychology in the market is changing. Things are not repeating the way that they're used to repeating. So that just leads me to believe that we're probably going to see something that we've never seen before, the beginning of another cycle, but not, leading to Bitcoin going into all-time highs just right away. Of course, I reserve that right until, price is going to go up again and we see dominance reclaim. Then maybe then I will change my mind. But for now, I'm just not super bearish, but I am very bullish right now, and I continue to be bullish because of the fact that we're still seeing that hidden bullish divergence, and I think that we're probably going to see a bigger move to the upside here, and I think 35K is your first target, and it could potentially go up to 46K, so that's very, very exciting. But of course, we're going into an halving as well. A halving historically is followed by bullish price action. Of course, in between, you might see a sell-off like we've seen in 2016. You might see a pump and then a pullback again in 2020. And who knows what's going to happen over here, because again, this is probably the longest bear market we've seen for Bitcoin and in this style. So again, don't try to use specific fractals from previous cycles to play out the exact same way, because it's just never going to play out the same way, because there's so many macro indicators that are just different, right? And the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P are very, very strong. And even the DXY, right? So I have this chart here. This is the DXY. I believe that the DXY may make another high, might pass the 106 area, and that will probably be a deviation and then a breakdown, right? So that will be your final confirmation that crypto is going to explode, because again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of green price action. I think that is the record that we've seen for DXY to move up like the way it has. And again, this just leads me to believe that if we get this high swept and we start seeing a rejection, then the market will go crazy. And even over here, guys, when we look at the RSI, Bitcoin just looks like it's ready to run, right? This is not very hard to understand. You're looking at the 2-week RSI. It's a clear support. Whenever it is, trading above or it's bouncing off this area, there's some type of reaction. We've seen that over here at 30K. We've seen that over here at 6,300. And again, even as a resistance level, it has done a very good job. Back over here at around 6,000 in 2018, it has pretty much led to the breakdown that we've seen, and then even a reclaim here in 2019. So you can clearly see how just following this chart, looking at volume, putting these indicators together, it just makes it very clear that, hey, listen, if you just keep your strategy simple, tune out the noise, you can see right now is a very good time to buy Bitcoin, right? According to the previous price action. Of course, previous price action and indicators don't, represent what can happen in the future. But this is all we have. This is the data we're looking at. So it's most likely that it does. It doesn't mean it will. Maybe there's a fake out that occurs. Maybe there's a breakdown that leads to a huge wick that maybe pushes back up afterwards. There's a lot of things that you got to consider, and everyone's strategy is different. So you got to ask yourself the question, what is your strategy? Are you a dollar cost averaging type of individual? Are you someone who's trading the markets? Of course, these answers and these things that I'm saying are going to differ depending on who's listening. But for most of you, dollar cost averaging should have been the game plan, right? Because I think hodlers have been proven to, again, outperform traders, and again, traders do get wrecked according to the statistics. So of course, that is a whole another can of worms we're not even gonna get into, but we're just chopping along here. We're chugging along. I believe the bottom's already in for Bitcoin. It was here at 15K, and we're probably gonna go to 45K because again, the RSI, the volume, and how price action is playing out. I think that we're probably gearing up to another high. Also, stable coins are dropping, just like I've articulated earlier. Hidden bearish divergence, you're seeing that, and we're probably going to see a bigger breakdown soon. And total is just very, very bullish. So again, this is not a screaming bullish chart, it's going to go straight to the moon from here. No, it's not going to be so straightforward. But I believe that we're getting ready to see a big run to the upside here, simply because of the fact that we saw the range highs get swept. We saw the range lows tap liquidity as much as it's the longest it's ever seen actually on this chart. And when we look at historical price action, we've seen back in the past how these ranges act when the highs are getting hit, the lows are being swept, when we see consolidation at the lows and then a reclaim. So that's again what we're watching for. Once this reclaim takes place at 1.13 trillion, it's probably too late, because as you can see over here, once the reclaim takes place, the range is entered, you see a breakout, and that's probably what's going to happen over here. So you most likely want to be accumulating before that even takes place. And again, you know, it's very important. I know that there's a lot of people there that say, hey, Bitcoin had a massive pump after the grayscale news, and then it fully retraced. Which, yes, you know, that was not the most exciting thing. I think that was over here actually. Bitcoin goes up about 8 or 10%, and then it just falls back on its face. Now that's kind of interesting because XRP did the same thing. It ran up to like 90 cents and then it fell, and that's not anything particular to XRP or Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is, again, revolutionary. The ruling was extremely massive. It kind of gives you hope that the future of Bitcoin is going to be very good, and mostly it's already has proved to do so, or has been proven to be a very good investment, right? Because again, from 8 cents to 69K, I mean, really, who's arguing that it's not a good investment? But the point of it all is that we're in a bear market, right? We saw the most amazing news, the grayscale stuff, and then to fully retrace the way it has, it's kind of interesting, but it just shows that the market is not ready yet, the liquidity is not here yet, but you don't want to be late. So again, with that information, you can do what you want, guys, but I am continuing to dollar cost average because I believe that we're gearing up for a bigger move. And even from an Elliott wave perspective, guys, you guys know, again, I talked about it in my last video about why I think that it's possible we're going to go down to new lows, or again, we'll see how, of course, this structure plays out. But this is looking like some type of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially leading into 45K. So could be some sort of zigzag that takes us to this region. And of course, we'll see how that plays out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we kept chopping here and then we started going into here, and then maybe a deviation, and then I don't know, right? But of course, we'll see how it all plays out. And of course, this is the whole point of these updates, right? If you made it this far, you know, the point of this all, and just TA, and not just for me, I'm sure this guys listen to other analysts as well, is the data as it's being presented, it's going to change your opinion, right? Because if there's something that invalidates a thesis or a forecast, then you have to consider that, right? If certain closes take place, or if some massive candle comes in right now that takes us from 25K to 40K in 1 week, that changes this whole chart, right? But as it stands, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion and then changing it as things occur. But the overall strategy, you should definitely have that in place. Of course, for me, it's dollar cost averaging and over time, because of course, this asset class is not going anywhere. Bitcoin is not going anywhere. Crypto is not going anywhere. But of course, we tried our best to time the market tops and bottoms. And with that, I appreciate you guys for making it to the end. Please like and sub if you have not already. And as always, hodl, hodl, hodl. Peace.